So inheriting a property can both be a blessing and an absolute curse at the same time. In this episode, I'm going to show you what happens when you inherit a property with a sibling. All right, so first I'm going to talk to you about a plan of action to speak with your sibling about what you want to do with the house. Then I'm going to talk about all the things that need to be done with the house that you might not even be thinking about, that are just, probably not so obvious at going through this. And by the end of this, I'm also going to show you a company that helps people get through solutions and resolve the problems of inheriting a house with a sibling. So the first step is you must schedule a time or a meeting over Zoom or at the location or at the house to discuss with your sibling or siblings of what you are planning to do with the house. You want to know everyone's opinions, everyone's options. Number two is, was there a will or was there a trust or a trustee set in place to handle out the order of affairs that need to be done, for the person that left you the property? They might have had a will or some wishes or something that they wish to see done with the property. So you want to know these things. And just having a lot of communication with your siblings really helps this process. And let me just tell you, I spoke with a probate attorney many years ago on a property that I was buying. It was a house I was buying from 3 siblings. And the probate attorney told me, he said, 9 times out of 10, this is what wrecks families. This is what puts a wedge between brothers and sisters and siblings that nothing will ever fix. So you never want to go into this process and have that wedge between you and your sibling. Let me tell you, the money right now might seem worth it, but it's absolutely not worth it. I've seen families destroyed that are inheriting properties and they got to figure out what to do with it. I personally have a parcel of land that I sold, 14 acres in Florida, and all 3 of the siblings are not talking to each other. There's a note on this. I'm actually the bank. I'm the person that's holding the loan for this, and they're paying me each month. But all 3 of them, they can't figure out what to do with the property. 1 wants to keep it, 2 want to sell it, so they're kind of feuding over it. So you never want to have that happen to you and your siblings. So just go into that knowing that, like, whatever it is, like, don't worry about the money. Just try and figure out a way that solves everyone's problems. So there's multiple ways to do it, and I had already discussed that option where 2 of the sisters want to sell and 1 wants to live into it, or stay living on the property because he's already living there. So what that guy could do is he can go to the bank and say, look, I am the owner of this property. I have 2 sisters. We're all 3 going to be equal owners. So I need a loan to pay them off. Let's just say it's worth $100,000 and there's 3 owners, so 3 siblings. So each one owns roughly 33.3%. So let's just call him Jim. Jim wants to keep the property, so he needs to buy out the other 2 sisters, Jill and Mary. So Jill and Mary both need $33,000 each. So Jim only needs to get a loan for $66,000 because he already has his $33,000 or 33% ownership. So that could be his down payment to buy the property. So that's one way he can go ahead and facilitate and buy the property from his siblings. He's already got 33% taken care of. Another way is they could just sell it and split up the proceeds 3 ways. Another option is they could just rent out the property and have a rental income coming in every single month of, let's just say it's $1,000 a month. Each person will get $333 if the property is paid for, and they can have a professional management company run it. So there's so many ways to do this with your siblings that it doesn't have to turn into feud or fighting or anger or aggravation. Maybe this particular house is in a great location on a lake or a mountainside, and maybe all 3, or maybe your sibling, it's just you and your sibling, maybe neither one of you live in that area, but it would be a great rental like in Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg, or like we have a house on Lake Placid. You could put this into a short-term rental portfolio and have someone manage it and use that property when you want to use it, and the rest of the time let that property pay for itself and make residual income for you and your family. Or there's the option of just selling the property outright, to where, again, I already mentioned where you sell the property and you just split the proceeds with your sibling. So you want to know some things like, okay, is there a mortgage on the property? How much is owed on the mortgage? Is the mortgage caught up? Because you never want to be going into foreclosure when you inherit a property if the mortgage is owed. So you want to call the mortgage company and figure out what is owed and how to get it caught up as soon as possible. Next are taxes. When was the last time the taxes were paid? Maybe there is no mortgage, but there's always going to be taxes owed on the property. Each year you must pay the property taxes, and if you don't, someone else will pay them for you and then can eventually take the property from you via foreclosure. Next, you want to know about insurance. Is the property currently insured with homeowners insurance? If someone slips and falls and breaks their head open, they can sue you. If someone goes and burns the house down, you lost your house. If someone goes and kicks all the walls in, now you have vandalism and you need to repair all the walls. So you want to know about homeowners insurance, and you probably want to go and get a quote and get insurance on it as soon as possible if there's not already insurance. Or maybe you're behind on the insurance, you need to get it caught up as quick as possible. Next, you want to see if there's any other encumbrances or liens, anything like that on the property. And the easiest way to do that is to go to a title insurance company and have them run a quick title search or an owner's and encumbrance search, just to make sure there's no contractor's liens or mechanical liens on the house. What is a mechanical lien? It's basically where maybe someone comes in and installs an air conditioner or solar panels or a water heater and they're not paid, and they can slap a lien on that house. So you want to make sure those are all taken care of, because eventually they might be able to foreclose on that property as well. Now there's certain homestead laws in most states that's probably not that easy for a mechanic's lien to foreclose, but if you ever go to sell it, you will have to catch that lien up. And a lot of times, here's what's cool about these liens is a lot of times they will negotiate with you if you're willing to pay them off sooner than later. So next, I have some very important things you must be doing with this inherited house. But before I do, I want you to go ahead and smash that subscribe button. I come out with these videos 5 days a week. Show me a little love and let's keep going. All right, so you want to make sure that the air conditioner and the heat is continuously running. No, I don't mean continuously running like just always on. I want you to like set that air conditioner at least 80 degrees, like keep that airflow going through there. Because if you're in one of these hot southeastern states, like you've got a lot of humidity and it's really hot, and you want to keep that air conditioner flowing and keep the air moving in the house so mold does not accumulate. And maybe you're in a northern state where it gets really, really cold. You want to keep the heat on. You want to keep it around 59 degrees to make sure your pipes do not freeze. Your water pipes don't freeze, because once they freeze, they expand and they crack, and then when they thaw out, water just goes everywhere and floods your house. And if you don't have insurance, like I already talked about, oh, it's even worse. It's even worse. I literally just had to repipe my entire house because we've got copper pipes and they failed on us, and it cost almost $15,000 to repipe the house. And we didn't even have like too much water going, so it didn't destroy our house. So it could have been way worse. All right, so how long do you plan on leaving this house vacant? If you're in a cold weather environment, if you're up north and the house is gonna be sitting vacant for 6 months or more, I would probably look into winterizing the pipes and blowing all the water out of the pipes and not letting water sit in these pipes. Because if you leave the heat on and the water's just sitting, you need to make sure it continuously keeps flowing. Some people leave a little drip. That way the water just keeps dripping. I like to go in once a week into our winter properties, our northern winter properties, and make sure every toilet gets flushed and the valves are turned on for just a couple seconds and then turn back off, because you want to keep that water rolling through that house, especially when it's cold weather houses. Next, you want to keep the place secure. Like no windows need to be broken. If there is a broken window, it needs to be boarded up immediately and then also repaired. You never want to leave the boards up too long, and then you want to make sure the doors are kept locked, because if you leave the house unsecure, people can walk right in and walk right out, and that's when squatters move in. And if you just give them the place to live, it is very, very hard to get them out. You know, you a lot of times will have to go to court to get a squatter out. Now, if they kick the door down and move in forcefully, now they're trespassing, and it's way easier to remove them from your property than to just let them come in on their free will. So if all this seems extremely overwhelming and you're like, Brent, I'm just gonna sell the property, just pay off my brother, pay off my sister, or split the proceeds all equally, We help with that. I can absolutely help you with that. I'm gonna give you a website. You can go and fill your property information out. We buy houses all over the United States. Head on over to ZechBuysHouses.com. We help people out all the time with this situation. I'd love to be there for you. If you fill out the form, you're probably gonna talk to Jen or Chrissy, and we will help you out. ZechBuysHouses.com.